ladies and gentlemen, let me commence by thanking Dr. Pratibha Mahanamaheva for his kind invitation to address this gathering today. Now, the topic I have been given is a very large, vast topic, namely law reform. Now, I propose dealing with this subject in this fashion. Law reform is something which one can compare to the human body. It's a question of reforming a body of laws. And in no country is any body of laws perfect. There are various ailments as there are in the human body. No human body, least of all those of my vintage, are completely whole. There are various ailments in them. And similarly, the law too, the body of law, is one which has various ailments. Now, the solution is not to try and reform everything at once, but to prioritize things. We must first see what are the laws which need major surgery. What laws need to be taken out? What laws, by their presence on the statute book, cause harm to the country? And what laws don't? Now, it is stupid to try and cure an ingrowing toenail and leave cholesterol and high blood pressure alone until you achieve that, or acute appendicitis. I think one should deal with acute appendicitis first and then get on to things like ingrowing toenails. Like that, even in the body of laws, we must first think of the major surgery that is necessary. That is, to abolish those laws which harm the country and which are harming the country, and reform those which do not. Now, with regard to law reform, we find many ministers and others from various legal organizations proposing all kinds of reforms. Now, many of them, I think, in my view at least, suggest reforms just for the sake of publicity, for the sake of gaining some political advantage. Now, to take one example, we find demand for laws to abolish hate speech. Well, it's already there. Our penal code has such laws. The problem in our country is not that the laws are bad. I think the laws are essentially good, except for a few, which need reformation. But the laws are not being implemented. That's where the problem lies. Now, for example, let's take Article 12 of the Constitution, so that all are equal before the law. Now, in my view, if we implement that particular provision, if the President and his family are treated in the same way by the law and by the law enforcement authorities as you or me and our families, then I don't think we'll have much of the turmoil which we have now. Indeed, our country will then start to have peace, order, and good government. But that will be from the day when we have equality before the law. When equality before the law ceases to be a slogan or a principle enshrined in a law book and becomes something, a living and breathing thing. That is what we must aim at. Now, apart from that, I told you about some laws that need to be taken out of the statute book immediately because they harm the country so much. I refer here, as many of you may have guessed, first to the 13th Amendment. We have got the 13th Amendment, which is set to devolve powers on the people of the periphery. But does it do so? If we examine the 13th Amendment, what we see is a number of white elephants called provincial councils set up with public funds. Now, they have been in existence for the last, from 87 onwards, for almost 30 years. And what have they achieved? What has been achieved by provincial councils that could not have been achieved by the central government? What have they achieved comparable to the Min Area scheme or the Galway or the Sennaga Samudra scheme or the Padaviya scheme or any of those vast irrigation schemes in the periphery? Nothing, in my view. And does it, in fact, devolve power to the people? Now, a provincial council, like Parliament, sends members to it. But those members, those members are elected by the people, true, no doubt. But the people vote for parties, not for individuals. The people cannot even nominate a single candidate. So however good a person may be, however much the people of an area might want him, he can't become a nominee for an election, be it provincial council, municipal council, urban council, parliamentary, or whatever, unless he's nominated by a party or an independent group. So that ultimately, this 13th Amendment vests powers only in political parties. That is how the bottle of Tipex has become a key factor in elections today, where a person doesn't hand in his own nomination, but the party secretary does it. And he has at liberty to scratch out what names he likes, put in other names, and get people's signatures. Now, it's high time we got out of this Tipex mentality and brought the bottle of Tipex back to what it should be. But unfortunately, that's not happening. And one finds more and more people crying out for a continuation of this provincial council system and for enhanced powers being given to them. Now, here again, when people of my persuasion rail against the provincial council system, we are accused of being communal-minded and of raising these questions only because of the Northern Provincial Council elections. That's not so, ladies and gentlemen. We have been saying this all along. And our objection is to a provincial council in the North Central Province, in the South, in the Northwestern Province, or in any province, leave alone the North. And as regards the North, there is one difference one must keep in mind to the other provincial councils. And that is that the party that once represented the Northern Provincial, the people of the Northern Province, the Federal Party, had one policy, and that was that the Northern and Eastern provinces are the exclusive homeland of the Tamils. The exclusive homeland, mind you. Now, when one says exclusive homeland, one means exclusive of everybody else. That it's the homeland of the Tamils, not of the Muslims, not of the Sinhalese, not of the Burghers, not of the Malays, not of anybody else. Now, to give such an organization power over land, power over police, would be fatal to the country. And quite apart from that, these provincial councils eat up the money of the people. How much money has been spent on these things? One even finds provincial councils using public funds to send their members abroad on holidays. Of course, they say study tours. But what have the people gained from those studies? It is as little, as I would say, as we have gained from judges going on scholarships to various foreign countries. We recently had the unhappy incident of one judge, of some judges, having a row in the departure lounge of an international airport, and one throwing a bottle of water at another. Well, that died down after some time. Why? It was a disgraceful incident. Action should have been taken on that, but no action was taken. And so similarly, we find provincial councils expending money ad lib on nothing. I remember when I joined the Attorney General Department, the head of the department was Mr. A.C.M. Amir. He was maybe the first political Attorney General we have had. Unfortunately, not the last. Now, Mr. Amir had one policy. He said he abolished all scholarships. He said the place to learn law, the place to improve your skills is here in the courts, not in foreign universities. And he stopped all scholarships, which I think once again is something that we should adopt. Because what is there that other countries can teach us? When we ourselves have such a wealth of knowledge, of experience that we can impart to our own people. And that is especially so with regard to military efforts, to Russian terrorism. We defeated the LTT. Now, what is the purpose of our officers being sent to foreign military academies? Of course, I'm sure I won't be popular for saying these things, because I think everybody likes a free trip. Who doesn't? It gives opportunities for shopping and so on, and for having a good time abroad, and maybe saving some money too. But then facts are stubborn, and facts must be spoken. Facts must be elucidated. Now, coming back to provincial councils, what have they achieved? Who have benefited from them? Now, I have been a resident of Colombo from the time the provincial council came into being, of Western province rather. I was in Mount Lavinia and then in Borelle. Now, I first realized that Reginald Curre was the chief minister of the Western province when he was chief minister, only when there was a vote of no confidence against him on some allegation of bribery or corruption. I can't remember which now. Now, I, a politically savvy person, didn't know who chief minister was and wouldn't have known before no confidence motion. And I'm sure it is the same with most people. I don't think they know who the chief minister and provincial council ministers are. So provincial councils serve no purpose other than to dry up the resources of the country. And I refer here not merely to the north or the east, but to all other provincial councils. Now, who is the person who would like to go to Rajarata if the chief minister of Rajarata was given charge of the police? I'm sure even the minister of the government would not want to go there. I'm sure Maithripala Sirisena Purunolo would not want to go to Anuradhapura or to electorate if he found the chief minister in charge of the police. So these are things that we've got to consider. I'm sure, I suppose if you ask him, he'll say, no, I will go. But I know in my heart of hearts that he won't like it. Nor will most other people like these powers being given to some political hacks. So, ladies and gentlemen, apart from the political hacks, the political hangers-on, the political sycophants, whom I remember the president once called Divakaras. He said, when I once asked him why being sidelined by the last president, he said, Machang, gani ek June when Divakarla vitarai. So Divakar said, oh bang, and he put his tongue out in a suggestive way and showed me what he meant by Divakara. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is what the provincial council system gives rise to and keeps giving rise to and develops. So I say that if this country is to progress, we must first abolish that system. We must take away that millstone from our necks and prevent public funds being wasted on those institutions. Then the second thing is, does that then give rise to revolution? I say, why not? Let's have a system of genuine devolution. Let us have the village committees consisting of elected members, elected on the ward system, where the special position given to political parties is taken away, where there is no list system, where anybody can nominate himself or be nominated. And let us have the village committees in charge of the development of any village, where any scheme is entrusted to them in that village. And let members of village committees elect members of parliament. And let those members of parliament elect the president or the prime minister, the case may be. So that we have one set of elections without a waste of money and leaving people to choose their representatives. This is something I have been advocating for quite some time, ladies and gentlemen, and I use the opportunity once again on talking about law reform to suggest this. That is, say, a system of village committees where we have a village committee consists of members of wards elected by the people directly, where nominations could be by the people themselves and not necessarily by political parties, where one does not have to become a stooge of some politician to get nomination, and so that the country can progress, where the people have a real stake in the government of the country and not just the political parties. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think I've taken enough time, so I thank you all for your attention and good night.